goes Thomas. It was summer on the island of Sodor. Engines puffed and chuffed happily in the sunshine. The children were excited. Today was their summer picnic in the Whispering Woods. Thomas was excited too. He had a very special.
This is the lemonade for the school picnic, Thomas. You must take it to Whispering Woods Halt.
Yes, sir.
Thomas had never carried lemonade before. He puffed proudly out of Knapford Station. On the way, Thomas went over some bumpy track.
Fizzling fireboxes!
Rattle, rattle, shake, shake went the lemonade in Thomas's truck. And then, pop, went one of the corks. Thomas couldn't see what had made the popping sound.
Bust my buffers! That noise was very funny.
Thomas stopped at a junction.
The Whispering Woods Halt is straight ahead. But if I take the left track, it's bumpier. Maybe then I'll hear the funny popping noise again. I'd like that.
So Thomas took the left track. The track was very bumpy.
Whoa! If I bounce along the track, perhaps that sound will soon come back. The sound that makes me smile and giggle when I puff on tracks that jiggle.
Rattle, rattle, shake, shake wobbled the lemonade. Pop, pop, pop burst the cork.
Whoa! That sound makes me very happy.
Then Thomas saw Mr. Bubbles the clown. He was going to the school picnic too.
Hello, Mr. Bubbles. Isn't this the funniest noise you've heard?
A popping cork hit Mr. Bubbles. It knocked his big red nose off. But Thomas didn't know he'd knocked off Mr. Bubbles' red nose. He was too busy thinking about the next bit of bumpy track.
That was fun. I know where there is some even bumpier track ahead. That means more funny popping.
This track was very bumpy indeed.
Ooh. If I bounce along the track, perhaps that sound will soon come back. The sound that makes me smile and giggle when I puff on tracks that jiggle.
Rattle, rattle, shake, shake wobbled the lemonade. Pop, 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 pinged the corks right into a field of pigs. The pigs were surprised as the corks dropped and plopped into the mud around them.
What a jolly noise!
Then Thomas saw some bakers. They were waiting outside the bakery. They were waiting for Emily. Emily was coming to pick up the cakes for the picnic.
Isn't this the funniest noise you've heard?
Popping corks hit the bakers and the cakes. All the cakes were spoiled, but Thomas still didn't notice. He was far too busy thinking about the next bit of bumpy track.
If I take this track, it will be the bumpiest track on the whole of Sodor. If I bounce along the track, perhaps that sound will soon come back. The sound that makes me smile and giggle when I puff on tracks that jiggle.
Rattle, rattle, shake, shake, jiggled the lemonade. Pop, 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 popped the corks. Then Thomas saw James. James was taking the children to the picnic.
Hello, James. Isn't this noise the funniest noise you've heard?
But James didn't think it was funny at all when a cork bounced off his shiny red paint.
Flatten my funnel! What was that?
Then there was trouble. The popping corks hit the signalman. He was so surprised he pulled the wrong lever. The tracks changed. James was sent into a siding. James bumped the buffers. Luckily, no one was hurt. But still, Thomas didn't notice. He was having a wonderful time. At last, Thomas arrived at the Whispering Woods halt. The Fat Controller wasn't happy.
Thomas, you have caused confusion and delay. Mr. Bubbles has lost his nose. Now he will be late. When Emily arrived to pick up the cakes, they were spoiled. James has bumped the buffers, and the bottles in your flatbed have lost their corks. The lemonade is all gone.
Suddenly, the very last cork popped and knocked the Fat Controller's hat right off his head. The Fat Controller was surprised. Thomas gasped.
Cinders and dashes. The funny popping sound that made me laugh must have been the corks. This is all my fault, sir.
Thomas felt terrible. Now the children couldn't have their picnic.
I can put this right, sir.
Thomas pumped his pistons and shoved quickly away. First, Thomas puffed to the bakery. The bakers had baked more cakes, and they were loaded onto Thomas's trucks. Then Thomas chuffed to Knapford for more lemonade. He saw Mr. Bubbles. Mr. Bubbles had bought a new red nose.
I'm sorry about your nose, sir. And I'm sorry I made you late. Now, may I take you to the picnic?
That's a splendid idea, Thomas.
Soon, Thomas was steaming back to the Whispering Woods halt. On the way, Thomas told Mr. Bubbles all about the popping corks.
They made a very funny sound. It made me laugh. It made me happy.
Soon, Thomas, you'll hear a sound that makes you feel even happier.
Thomas was puzzled. This time at the junction, Thomas took the flat track straight to the Whispering Woods halt. Thomas arrived at the Whispering Woods halt just in time. Not one of the corks had popped. The children saw Thomas had brought Mr. Bubbles and the cakes. Thomas listened to the children laughing and cheering.
Now, Thomas, that is the happiest sound of all.
You're right, Mr. Bubbles.
And Thomas laughed loudest of all.
旅に出よう遠いところへ世界中を巡ろうすごい冒険が待っているたくさんの発見が待っているトーマスたちの旅は続く